to make sure that we really understand what's going on when we're dividing fractions, I wanted to make this supplementary, this extra video for you guys to have. I want to ease our way into it. First, an easy division problem. We're looking at 4 divided by 2. How many groups of 2 are there in 4? Well, we got 1 here and 1 here. So 4 divided by 2, of course, is 2. And then we've got 4 divided by 1. How many groups of 1 are there in 4? So again, how many groups of 1 are there in 4? Of course, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. We've seen that when our divisor, this number here, gets smaller, our answer gets bigger. 4 divided by 2 was only 2. 4 divided by 1 was 4. And now 4 divided by 1/3. Let's see how much that is. Notice, we're dividing by this fraction. We've now carved these boxes up into thirds, right? This is 1/3 of a box, this is 1/3 of a box, and this is 1/3 of a box. So we have 3/3 make the whole box. How many thirds are there in 4? Again, our divisor got smaller, right? 1/3 is less than 1. How many thirds are there in 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The answer would be 12. Our answer went from the last problem, 4 divided by 1, which was 4. Now it's gone up to 12. And why is that? Because this number here, the denominator of the divisor, got bigger. 1, when we used to be dividing by 1, that's the same as 1 over 1. Now we're dividing by 1 over 3. Because of that 3, we carved these up into 3 pieces. And we counted all of them. So that made our answer go up by a factor of 3, from 4 to 12, right? So you notice that because this went to 3, our answer had to be multiplied by 3. It's the same as multiplying this by 3. 4 times 3 gave us our 12. Now what happens if we're still dividing by 3 over here, the denominator is 3, but the numerator is now 2, it's twice as big? What's going to happen to our answer? What's going to happen to our answer? Now we've got these carved into thirds again, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 to make a whole, but we're counting how many groups of 2/3 are there. How many groups of 2/3 are there? Notice, our divisor is bigger than it was before. Before it was 1/3, now it's 2/3, which is a greater number. So how many groups of 2/3 are there? Well, there's 1, that's 2/3, that's 2/3, that's 2/3, and that's 2/3. And then we have this third here, which we can combine with that third, and this third here, which we can combine with that third. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our answer would be 6. So notice, we had an answer of 12 when it was 1/3. Now it's 2/3. The 1 changed into a 2, and our answer was divided by 2. That's why it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. We multiplied this times this to get 12, and we divided by that to get 6. Now we're going to get into the most complicated sort of example, a fraction divided by another fraction. 2/3 divided by 1/6. What that means is we're wondering how many sixths are there in 2/3. First thing we have to do is carve our box up into thirds. And now we only have 2/3 to begin with, right? We're starting with 2/3, we're wondering how many sixths there are. So let's shade our 2/3. That's 1/3, and that's 2/3. Now, how many sixths are in there? Well, to know that, we're going to have to look at this box with regards to sixths. So if we carve it like that, now this box is carved into sixths, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And out of the 2/3 that we had shaded, how many sixths are shaded? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our answer is not 4/6, right? It's just 4. How many sixths were in those 2/3? 4. right? When we carved it up even further, we made it so there were more units that we were looking at. And of course, this is the same as 2 times 6, which is 12, divided by 3. That will give us our 4. Now, if you're really understanding these drawings, and you really get why dividing by a fraction that's less than 1 will give you actually a bigger answer than you started with, you now understand fractions, dividing fractions, at a much deeper level than I did when I was your age. I hope you understand why we as teachers don't want to just tell you that you can multiply by the reciprocal and leave it at that. We want you to understand why multiplying by the reciprocal works. And seeing these visual models takes you a long way towards understanding that.